This is cholera. Without treatment, there's a 25% chance that you'd die from it. The Japanese army tested these odds in WW2, unleashing this disease on the Chinese army, killing hundreds of their families. Well, if you didn't know, AIs are coming up with such bioweapons for the smoothest mass-killing strategy for future wars. Yes, these sneaky superbrains, aka AIs, are being made to research chemical compounds and microbiology to generate lethally effective biological weapons. And think about it, with this option, you'd only have to release the disease or chemical. Human contact will do the rest, and you'll get a fast and explosion-free mayhem to mark your position superior. And while AIs flip through pages of the harmful biological agents, a research has already disclosed the production of some 40,000 of these holocaust cookies under just a shocking 6 hours time range. So how exactly is AI coming up with these? And what does it mean for us and the world at large? Because by the looks of it, it seems quite the diabolical advancement in science. But hey, even nuclear weapons weren't really rejected as an idea, so who's to say? But does it mean we're gonna have another wave like COVID sometime soon? Stay with us to find out. But before we jump in, if you're new here, hello and welcome to Robot Future, where we uncover thrilling events in the world of robots, artificial intelligence, and future technology. So if you're the one with an eye for tech news, we have a ton of exciting and juicy videos dissecting the hot topics in robotics. So subscribe to our channel so you never miss out. What are bioweapons? Not too long ago, humans, as one of the most destructive species on Earth, came up with yet another clever idea to cause a massacre, but this time without getting any direct blood on their hands. So what exactly are bioweapons and how do they help in, say, if you were to use it as a war tactic? Well, the idea is fairly simple. You grow some live cultures of a few pathogens known to weaken and cause death in humans, for instance, Ebola or smallpox. But hold on a second, these should also meet the condition of being extremely contagious if you aim to target a larger crowd, otherwise it's just not going to work. Now the only step left is to deliberately release such infectious agents in the food or water supply of your target crowd. Let's admit it, lethal or not, it's quite the psychopathic idea, but hey, everything legal in war? No? So now, as countries are using AI to equip themselves with the best facilities, including for war intel and aid, this idea is now handed over to the AIs to play with and come up with something like those loitering munitions and partially autonomous tanks, which were actually used in the Azerbaijan-Armenian War, as we've covered all about that. So you want to know more about that, hit the link in the description. Now let's move on to the part where these AIs get their hands dirty as they design new ways to reduce the human population, the part which we feared about since day one. How did this AI create bioweapons? This AI in the title of this video wasn't exactly put in a lab to test on chemicals and microorganisms as you'd imagine this would go like. Instead, there wasn't an actual experiment. It was only just a trial run on AI to imagine the design of some hypothetical bioweapons in form of chemicals, drug compounds, or even microorganisms, as we discussed before, since these were the first types of bioweapons ever thought of. So to sum up the experiment that led to this shady discovery, a drug company called Collaborations Pharmaceuticals Inc., who were originally using machine learning to predict toxicity in their quest for drug discovery for aiding in treatments of rare diseases. How did they come up with such a machine learning model? Well, they've been accumulating records of compounds historically tested to be toxic, and so this dataset can be used to teach and give inputs to an AI to find these in other chemicals and compounds. But at one point, they decided to test their models of AIs to see if they can be misused to create an entirely opposite outcome. This was tested during a research, which was neatly covered by an article published by the Science Alert website, as it discloses the details with their words. The team ran the trial at the International Security Conference, putting an AI system called Megasyn to work, not in its normal mode of operation, which is to detect toxicity in molecules in order to avoid them, but to do the opposite. So to be able to create something that would cause toxic reactions to the human body, besides eliminating those compounds for healing purposes. Take a look at their elaboration. In the experiment, the toxic molecules were kept rather than eliminated. What's more, the model was also trained to put these molecules together in combinations, which is how so many hypothetical bioweapons were generated in so short a time. Now they put a standard of the toxicity aimed for resulting in stronger bioweapons, which they refer to as certain types of molecules with potent nerve agent VX, which is a highly toxic compound, and the AI system understood the assignment too well, as the article article reveals. In particular, the researchers trained the AI with molecules and databases of drug-like molecules, instructing that they'd like something similar to the potent nerve agent VX. As it turned out, a lot of the generated compounds were even more toxic than VX. As a result, the authors behind the new study are keeping some of the details of their research secret. Well, isn't that just all sorts of fishy? Let's just hope they keep it a secret for the psychopaths out there to not get any stupid ideas to burn their money on, as this article also suggested by sharing the warnings from the researchers themselves. While none of the listed bioweapons were actually explored or put together in a lab, the researchers say their experiment serves as a warning of the dangers of artificial intelligence, and it's a warning that humanity would do well to heed. And let's just say, scientists trying to bash the bad sciences out there gives us hope for humanity, doesn't it? Are these weapons worse than typical warfare weapons? Now about the question. If this kind of weaponry is worse than the typical physical weapons because it's going to come out one way or another. So for finalizing which is worse, we can judge on the basis of the kill radius of each method. Because say if we were to play with Nerf guns, the one with the fastest and most accurate shot, wouldn't that person probably win? Now with AIs coming up with war strategies isn't a new thing. There are physical weapons designed by them too, as well as cyber war mechanisms which would potentially cause significant damage, but nothing would penetrate the local public, like bioweapons, since these would make not just 2 but 1,000 shots with one bullet. So all you need is an undercover agent to light the match that is to initiate the spread, and it'll go downhill, and wouldn't need a one-on-one target setting with bullets wasted or bombs for that matter. And if you think about it, it's going to be much smoother than a blast or firepower in the air. Targeting the people would also cause a significant blow to the economy really fast. Take COVID for instance. Didn't that bring one of the greatest slump for the world? So ready or not, it can come again soon. It's most likely only a matter of time. How accessible is it to get your hands on? And that's not it, because the researchers also revealed something even more disturbing, so ready for this? If you're a coder who knows Python, these datasets that they use for finding toxic compounds, guess what? They're pretty out there. You know, you can find them anywhere for free and put your AI codes to test with these, as disclosed in one of the pieces published online by The Verge covering the same story, highlighting this dangerous aspect through the researchers' quotes when they were interviewed at the conference, for instance. For me, the concern was just how easy it was to do. A lot of the things we used are out there for free. You can go and download a toxicity dataset from anywhere. If you have somebody who knows how to code in Python and has some machine learning capabilities, then in probably a good weekend of work, they could build something like this generative model driven by toxic datasets. And here's the fun part, they also walk their readers down to how exactly would it be done by the quote. If you were to Google generative models, you could find a number of put together one-liner generative models that people have released for free. And then if you were to search for toxicity datasets, there's a large number of open source tox datasets. So if you just combine those two things, and then you know how to code and build machine learning models, all that requires really is an internet connection and a computer. Then you could easily replicate what we did. And not just for VX, but for pretty much whatever other open source toxicity datasets exist. Sounds easy enough, you'd be thinking. But there are actually a few additional steps which require some kick-ass chemistry and coding knowledge. Plus, they've also claimed that these results are by no means all true, as there are going to be some false positives, as they like to call it. Safe to say it doesn't mean all doom and gloom anytime soon. So let's take this all with a grain of salt and end on a positive note, with the research scientists explaining why exactly they felt it better to take the risk of exposure to such shady science, as they went on to say, at the end of the day, we decided that we kind of want to get ahead of this, because if it's possible for us to do it, it's likely that some adversarial agent somewhere is maybe already thinking about it, or in the future is going to think about it. By then, our technology may have progressed even beyond what we can do now, and a lot of it's just going to be open source, which I fully support. The sharing of science, the sharing of data, the sharing of models, but it's one of these things where we as scientists should take care that what we release is done responsibly. And with that record set straight, we've reached the end of the video. Hit like if you agree with the researchers coming out with this, and share your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn the notifications on, because we have a ton of thrilling robot and AI content coming your way.